the onion recipe that destroys diabetes, cleans your arteries, and saves your heart. You wake up in the morning and sit at the edge of the bed, just like you always do. But today, like so many other days lately, your legs feel heavier than you remember. Your fingers tingle just a bit. And even though your heart is still beating, it doesn't feel strong, just tired. You take a slow breath, whisper to yourself, maybe it's just age. And yet, somewhere deep inside, you wonder, is this how it's going to be now? Every day, if that sounds familiar, you're not alone. I've heard this from so many patients over the years, good people, just like you, who quietly carry these little discomforts, chalking them up to growing older. But let me tell you something I've learned after decades of listening and caring. Growing older does not have to mean growing weaker. Your body still listens. It still responds. And often, the path to feeling better again begins not with a prescription, but with something far simpler: your next meal. In today's video, I want to gently walk with you through some of the most healing foods nature has to offer, foods that can restore your energy, protect your heart, and help your blood sugar find its balance again. Let's take this journey together, one warm, hopeful step at a time. Part 1. Kale, the quiet green that gently clears your arteries. Let me ask you something. Have you ever looked at a bunch of kale in the store and thought, that's not for me? Maybe it felt too trendy, too bitter, or just too unfamiliar. I understand. But allow me to reintroduce this leafy green not as a fad, but as an old friend to your heart. Kale isn't just a vegetable, it's a protector in disguise. Packed with soluble fiber, kale has a special ability to help sweep out the bad cholesterol, the sticky LDL that quietly clings to your artery walls over time. It does this before that cholesterol ever has a chance to settle in and harden. That means lighter, freer blood flow, and a heart that doesn't have to fight as hard just to do its job. What truly sets kale apart are its natural anti-inflammatory compounds, especially one called sulforaphane. This little warrior helps calm down the chronic inflammation inside your blood vessels, the very kind that silently leads to diabetes and heart disease. I've seen people in their late 60s and 70s who added kale just twice a week and noticed a difference in how light they felt after walking, even after meals. There's also vitamin K, abundant in kale, which plays a role in keeping your blood clotting properly, but not excessively. That helps prevent plaque from forming and reduces the risk of strokes over time. And if you're managing type 2 diabetes, kale's fiber helps slow the release of sugar into your bloodstream. That means fewer spikes, more steady energy, and less pressure on your pancreas. If you're new to kale, start slow. I often recommend sautéing it lightly with olive oil and garlic, or blending a few leaves into a fruit smoothie with banana and berries. It doesn't have to be overwhelming. Just a few leaves here and there, and soon your body will feel the difference. Because sometimes the best support for your heart doesn't come in a pill bottle, it comes from something humble, green, and quietly powerful. Resting on your plate. Part 2. Avocado, the creamy fat that loves your heart. Now I know what you might be thinking. A fruit that's full of fat that can't be good for my heart. Right. But here's the surprising truth. Not all fats are the enemy. In fact, some are the very shield your heart has been waiting for. And avocado is one of the kindest, most healing sources of that fat. The fats in avocado are called monounsaturated fats, and they do something remarkable. They help lower the bad cholesterol LDL while lifting the good kind HDL, the one that acts like a cleanup crew in your arteries. That's not opinion, it's science. I often show my patients a study from the Journal of the American Heart Association that found eating just one avocado a day improved cholesterol levels in adults at risk for heart disease. But the gift of avocado doesn't stop there. Avocados are rich in potassium, more than even bananas. Potassium helps relax the blood vessels. Imagine your arteries softening and opening. allowing blood to flow more freely. That naturally lowers blood pressure, easing the strain on your heart with each beat. If you're living with diabetes or pre-diabetes, there's another layer of healing here. Avocados help improve insulin sensitivity, which means your body gets better at using insulin the right way. That leads to fewer sugar spikes after meals and less inflammation in the long run. I remember a patient of mine, Mr. Douglas, a retired carpenter in his early 70s. For years, he avoided avocados because he thought they were too fattening. When we started including just half an avocado at lunch in a salad or mashed on whole grain toast, his post-meal blood sugar began to level out. He told me, "I feel full, not foggy," and that small change made him feel in control again. My gentle advice, don't fear the creamy texture, welcome it. Slice it into your salad, blend it into a smoothie, or enjoy it with lemon and olive oil. It's not about dieting, it's about nourishing. Avocado doesn't weigh you down. It lifts you up. Because at this stage in life, what we truly need are foods that not only feed our bodies, but restore our confidence. One bite at a time. Part 3. Strawberries, the sweetness that quietly guards your heart. We all deserve something sweet, especially in a life that has seen so many sunrises, but not all sweetness leads to harm. In fact, some kinds of sweetness can heal. Let me perhaps reintroduce you to the humble strawberry. You might think of it as a treat for grandchildren or something to top a dessert, but this little red fruit has power far beyond its flavor. It carries strength where you least expect it in the protection of your heart and balance of your blood sugar. Strawberries are low on the glycemic index. That means even though they taste sweet, they don't cause your blood sugar to spike wildly like candy or white bread. For those living with diabetes or hoping to avoid it, that gentle effect on your bloodstream matters deeply. What truly makes strawberries special, though, is a group of antioxidants called anthocyanins. These are the same compounds that give the berry its rich red hue. In a study published in the Journal of Nutrition, anthocyanins were shown to reduce insulin resistance and ease inflammation in blood vessels, two of the root causes of both heart disease and type 2 diabetes. There's more. These berries are packed with vitamin C, which helps repair and protect the inner lining of your arteries, keeping them strong and flexible. They also contain fiber, which slows digestion and keeps you feeling satisfied, reducing the urge for unhealthy snacks later in the day. I remember Mrs. Evelyn, a 74-year-old with a long history of craving sweets before bed. We made a simple swap instead of cookies. She kept a small bowl of fresh strawberries in the fridge. Not only did her cravings calm down, but she also began sleeping better without the sugar crash and nighttime wake-ups. So if you're craving something sweet, don't deny yourself. Just choose a sweetness that loves you back. A handful of strawberries with a few walnuts, or stirred into oatmeal, can become a moment of comfort and healing, because joy and health don't need to live in opposite corners of your life. Sometimes they come together in something as simple as a berry. Part 4. Walnuts, tiny giants for your blood vessels. Sometimes the biggest healing doesn't come from big gestures, but from small handfuls. Walnuts may not look like much, rough little shells, modest in color, but inside each one lies a treasure chest of protection, especially for your heart and circulation. These nuts are rich in omega-3 fatty acids, the kind that soothe inflammation, the quiet kind of inflammation that damages arteries over the years without you feeling a thing until it's too late. In fact, research from the Circulation Journal showed that people who regularly ate walnuts had more flexible arteries and healthier cholesterol levels, and that flexibility is no small matter. Imagine your blood vessels as garden hoses. When they're stiff, your heart has to pump harder just to move blood through. But when they're supple and elastic, everything flows more freely, with less effort, less strain. But there's more to walnuts than healthy fats. They're packed with magnesium, a mineral many seniors unknowingly lack. Magnesium plays a crucial role in how your heart beats, how your muscles relax, and how your body manages insulin. If your levels are too low, your risk for high blood pressure and diabetes quietly rises. I once had a patient, George, who had stopped eating nuts years ago because of a fear of calories. But after we reintroduced just a handful of raw walnuts each afternoon, not roasted, not salted, his blood pressure numbers improved, and more surprisingly, his mental clarity returned. He smiled and told me, "I don't feel foggy at 3 p.m. anymore." That's the quiet power of the right kind of food. So here's my advice. Keep a small jar of walnuts somewhere easy to reach. Add them to your morning oats, your salad, or just enjoy them as an afternoon pause. Let these tiny giants remind you nourishment doesn't have to be complicated. Sometimes it's as simple as what fits in the palm of your hand. And your heart, it will thank you, one beat at a time. Part 5. Yams. Gentle carbs that steady your blood and soothe your mood. If you've ever sat down to a warm plate of baked yams on a chilly evening, you know some foods don't just fill your stomach, they comfort your soul. But beyond the cozy flavor, yams carry a quiet intelligence. They nourish in ways that matter deeply, especially as we age. Unlike white rice or mashed potatoes that hit your bloodstream like a sugar rush, yams digest slowly. Their natural complex carbohydrates break down gently, offering your body a slow, steady release of energy. That means no sudden spikes and no crashes that leave you weak or shaky. But yams go even deeper than that. They contain a compound called diosgenin, which has been studied for its powerful anti-inflammatory effects. In one study published in Food and Function, diosgenin was shown to help protect blood vessels from internal stress. For someone in their 60s, 70s, or beyond, that translates into better circulation, more stable blood pressure, and less wear on the heart over time. Yams also offer vitamin B6, a quiet helper behind the scenes that supports nerve health and balances mood. Many of my patients report feeling calmer and more emotionally steady when they add foods like yams to their weekly meals. One woman I think of often is Dorothy. At 75, she told me she'd started skipping dinner, saying she had no appetite and no energy. We made a small shift. She began roasting slices of yam with olive oil and rosemary, keeping them in the fridge to warm up later. Within 2 weeks, she came back with more color in her cheeks and said, "It's strange, but I feel like myself again." That's not strange, it's biology and compassion working together. So if you're looking for a starch that doesn't sabotage your sugar or your spirit, try a little roasted yam. Let its warmth remind you food can be medicine. Yes, but it can also be kindness on a plate. Part 6. Garlic, the tiny clove that quietly defends your heart. It sits quietly in your kitchen, wrapped in its papery skin. Humble, familiar. But inside that tiny clove of garlic is something quite extraordinary, a protector, a purifier, and a friend to your heart and your blood sugar. Garlic's power lies in a compound called allicin, which becomes active when the clove is crushed or chopped and left to rest for a few minutes. Allicin has a natural ability to widen blood vessels, improving circulation and gently lowering high blood pressure without medication, without side effects, but it doesn't stop at the heart. Garlic also helps your body use insulin more effectively, meaning sugar moves more easily from your blood into your cells, where it belongs. For those living with type 2 diabetes or standing close to its doorstep, this simple kitchen staple can become an unexpected ally. I remember a patient, Mr. Julian, who had struggled with blood pressure and fatigue. We started small, 1 clove of crushed garlic, lightly sautéed in olive oil, added to his morning eggs. A few weeks later, he looked me in the eye and said, "I walk to my mailbox now without feeling out of breath." That's not magic. It's the body remembering how to thrive when given the right support. Garlic also acts as a natural antibiotic, gently fighting off the low-grade infections and hidden inflammation that wear down your immune system and contribute to artery damage over time. A word of advice: let garlic breathe. Crush it and leave it for 8 to 10 minutes before cooking. That allows the allicin to fully activate. And cook it gently. High heat can destroy some of its healing benefits. So the next time you prepare a meal, pause a moment when you reach for that clove of garlic. It's not just a seasoning, it's a whisper of healing, passed down through generations. It may be small, but like many things in life, the smallest parts often do the most vital work. Part 7. Apples. A simple fruit that earns its old wisdom. You've heard it before. An apple a day keeps the doctor away. It's the kind of saying passed down through time, often recited but rarely understood. Yet, as someone who spent decades caring for aging hearts and tired bodies, I can tell you there's more truth in that phrase than most people realize, especially when you eat the apple with the skin on. That thin outer layer, the part many people peel away, is where the healing hides. It's rich in a compound called quercetin, a flavonoid that helps reduce inflammation in your arteries and lower blood pressure naturally. A study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that regular intake of quercetin helped relax blood vessels in adults with hypertension. That's not folklore, that's science. Inside the apple, you'll find pectin, a soluble fiber that forms a gentle gel in your digestive tract. That gel slows the absorption of sugar and fat, which means your blood sugar stays more stable and your cholesterol levels don't spike after a meal. For people managing diabetes or prediabetes, that slow and steady digestion is a quiet lifesaver. And of course, apples are a natural source of vitamin C, which supports your immune system and helps keep your blood vessels elastic, like giving your circulation system a gentle stretch each day. One of my patients, Helen, 78, used to think apples were just filler fruit. But once she started eating one each afternoon, skin on with a few almonds instead of her usual granola bar, something changed. I feel lighter in the evening, she told me, and less hungry before dinner. A small shift, but over time, it became part of a rhythm that helped her feel more balanced. My advice: choose organic when you can, so you don't have to peel off that precious skin. Pair it with protein like nut butter or a handful of seeds. And savor it slowly, not just as a snack, but as a small act of care. Because sometimes the simplest habits carry the deepest wisdom. And an apple a day, it might just keep regret away. Part 8. Broccoli, the gentle broom for your arteries. Broccoli may look simple, but inside its green florets is a quiet force of healing. It contains sulforaphane, a natural compound shown to reduce inflammation inside your arteries, helping prevent plaque buildup and improve circulation. That's why I often call broccoli a gentle scrubber for your blood vessels. It also brings both soluble and insoluble fiber, which helps stabilize blood sugar and support gut health, key for keeping energy and immunity steady as we age. Plus, with vitamin C and K, broccoli strengthens your immune system and keeps your blood vessels flexible. I remember Mr. Thompson, a retired bus driver who added just half a cup of steamed broccoli to his lunch 3 times a week. In 1 month, he told me his digestion improved and his legs didn't feel as heavy when walking. So here's my advice: lightly steam it, don't overcook, and pair it with olive oil or garlic. Simple, affordable, powerful. Sometimes healing doesn't need to be loud, it just needs to be consistent. Part 9. Oats, the humble grain that balances you all day. You might pass by a bag of oats at the store and think, just breakfast food. But oats are far more than a morning meal. They're one of the most quietly powerful allies for your heart and blood sugar. Inside oats is a special fiber called beta-glucan, which forms a gel in your gut. That gel slows how fast sugar and cholesterol get absorbed into your bloodstream. The result? Steadier energy, fewer sugar spikes, and less work for your heart and pancreas. Studies have shown that daily oat consumption can lower LDL cholesterol and improve insulin response, especially in adults with type 2 diabetes. And because oats keep you full longer, they help reduce cravings that lead to overeating or poor snack choices. I had a patient named Ruth who used to crash around 10 tired, irritable. We swapped her sugary cereal for steel-cut oats topped with berries and walnuts. Just one change. 2 weeks later, she smiled and said, "I don't need my mid-morning snack anymore. I feel steady." Choose rolled or steel-cut oats, not instant ones with added sugar. Soak them overnight if digestion is a concern. A simple bowl of oats can do more than warm your belly. It can calm your day from the inside out. Part 10. Onion-turmeric elixir. A warm dish with quiet power. Sometimes healing doesn't come in a pill, it comes from your skillet. This simple home recipe, made with red onion, turmeric, olive oil, black pepper, and apple cider vinegar, might sound too easy to matter. But together, these ingredients create a powerful anti-inflammatory blend that supports heart health, circulation, and blood sugar balance. Red onions are rich in quercetin, which helps lower inflammation in arteries and improve insulin sensitivity. Turmeric contains curcumin, one of nature's strongest anti-inflammatory agents. Black pepper boosts its absorption. Olive oil adds healthy fats and antioxidants. And a splash of vinegar helps stabilize blood sugar after meals. Here's how I guide patients. Gently sauté thinly sliced red onion in olive oil for a few minutes. Add 1 teaspoon turmeric, a pinch of black pepper, and a dash of apple cider vinegar. Cook for just a minute more. Done. I had one patient, Mr. Lang, 71, start eating this 3 times a week with his dinner. 2 weeks in, he told me, "My legs feel lighter when I wake up." It's not a miracle. It's the body responding to the right care, gently and gradually. So if you try just one new habit this week, let it be this: a warm plate, a few honest ingredients, and the quiet knowledge that sometimes healing begins in your kitchen. By now, you've walked with me through simple, honest foods: kale, avocado, garlic, oats, even a warm onion dish that don't just feed your stomach. They speak to your circulation, your blood sugar, your heart. And I hope you've also heard something deeper, that it's not too late. That feeling heavy, tired, or foggy doesn't have to be just part of aging, that even in your 60s, 70s, or 80s, your body is listening. It still wants to heal. You don't need a perfect diet. You don't need fancy supplements. You just need a beginning, a small, thoughtful choice repeated over time. Maybe it's a bowl of oats tomorrow instead of toast. Maybe it's adding kale to your lunch twice a week. Maybe it's trying that onion-turmeric dish one evening and noticing how your body responds. Because this isn't about rules, it's about restoring your rhythm. The one where your mornings feel lighter, your steps feel steadier, your mind feels clearer. And you wake up not with dread, but with quiet strength. So if this message gave you hope or just reminded you that you're not alone, I'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below, share this video with someone you care about, and if you haven't yet, subscribe to Health 365 so we can keep walking this path together gently. One day at a time. You deserve a life that feels good again. And it can start right now. Not in a hospital, not in a pharmacy, but right in your kitchen.